So hello! On this channel we talk about independent spirituality and folk magic for free spirits. My name is Aster, and in today's video we are having episode 3 of none other than Spooky Tales, which is becoming the favorite series of some of you out there who watch my content. I am really happy about this little thing that we are creating here. It's already the 3rd episode. I got some more stories on my email address, and today I'm gonna read some of them. So if you have any supernatural stories or anything scary surrounding spiritual contact as a spiritual practitioner or as just a person who exists, if you have had any kind of strange encounters or experiences, or maybe your mother told you a story, your grandma told you a story, there's some, if you have something to share related to spirits, something that nobody can explain, something that was very interesting, something that was very scary, please send it to the email that is showing on the screen right now, asterperpetua@gmail.com, and your story could be one of the next featuring in like future episodes of Spooky Tales. Now, something important is that you should include the word spooky on the title, the subject, whatever of your email, because like that it's going to be easier for me to find your story in my inbox of my emails, okay? So Spooky Tales, spooky story, but spooky has to be on the title, okay? Wait a minute. Before we start, let's take a minute to hear a word from today's sponsor, which is myself. Did you know that I have opened a store? Yeah, that's right. Over there you can find all my ebooks that contain some juicy bits of occult knowledge that I share, and you don't want to miss out on that. And also private readings that combine tarot and Lenormand cards, as you already know them, with some extra spice of Afro-Brazilian knowledge. But the best part is that the products on the store start at only $3. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm also on Patreon, and over there I share extra exclusive content like spell tutorials, behind the scenes of my life, exclusive Patreon videos, unfiltered book reviews, weekly readings, and much more for only 1 cup of coffee per month. So if you like what I do on the internet and would like to support my work somehow, check out the links in the description to take a look at everything that I offer. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the video. Oh my god. We have a huge ass thing here. My goodness. Okay, let's give this a try. Okay, we are going to analyze the story that is being told, and we can discuss in the comments what we would have done if it was with us, what could be done in that situation, okay? The purpose of the series is to like discuss about solutions. It's not to make fun of others, all right? Let's see. Spooky stories. Hello, beautiful creature. Hello. One of my comments under your video, let me copy it here. Maybe it was too long for YouTube comments and this person was not able to write it on YouTube. Let's see. Yesterday, I had a much more interesting situation sitting on a bench in the garden in front of the house, where I usually offer incense to the spirits. Suddenly, the space around me began to sink in thick black. Interestingly, despite the night and lack of sunlight, the walls of the house and the plants were visible, but in slightly different colors, silvery gray. Then I felt someone hug me, and I felt incredible pleasure, peace, security, joy, relaxation. I realized that it was a figure resembling a black sheet blowing in the wind. The first association was death, and then the reflection. How can one feel such incredible comfort in death's embrace? Ooh, girl, that's an excellent question. It was slightly stressing me out, and then the feeling of bliss subsided as the figure stepped back towards the porch and looked at me. I returned to the room, to the bed where I wanted to fall asleep, but then 3 small, fragile, delicate women appeared in my bed. One of them lifted her blouse so that I could explain to the other 2 how great it is to have breasts. What? I also like having breasts. Ooh, sorry. What? Because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have anything to look at now to feel peace, relaxation, and comfort. Everything I felt on the bench in front of the house, like, what? Is this like when this is turning out like some I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, whatever, but what? Please share your thoughts in the comments about this tale, okay? I'm a little bit confused here, but there is a sequel. I asked myself, what was it that came to me? Like, what was that? My grandfather appeared in my room, and his ghost, pay attention, his ghost walked strangely and clairvoyantly. I like this word, clairvoyantly. This seems like something very unique. As if falling into a trance and having some spasms in his muscles and limbs. He said, "There's nothing left of me here." Good observation. At that moment, I suddenly appeared in the forest near the spring where I offer incense. I was standing among the trees and suddenly I noticed a black boar. But the boar was from the shadow. He was a shadow and not a body. But he was material. It was his shadow that had mass. What? Were you dreaming? This seems like a dream to me. Or you have visions. Because if that's the case, that is super cool, I have to say. I don't really get a lot of visions myself, so props to you. I was scared because the boar was unnaturally large. It was standing with its back to me, and with a slightly left profile. He didn't attack me. I was just scared of him. While searching for the meaning of this vision, I learned that a boar in the forest means being under the protection of a powerful being. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe this shadow boar is the same as what I interpreted as death? Yeah, it could be the same spirit, just presenting itself in different forms. Like in forms that you would understand, that you would, you see? In the arms of the shadowy figure, I felt extraordinary pleasure and security. Then I met a boar from the same shadow, which I was as afraid of as death. And it turns out that its meaning is also care and protection. So I asked what or who this entity is. I received an answer in the form of 2 visions. The first one took place in my bedroom. I was lying on the bed and I noticed a small moth flying above me, or a food moth. I instinctively waved my hand and the worm fell onto the bed. Except I didn't kill it, I only damaged it. So they slapped the creature. Ah, damn you, that kind of thing. I watched it for a moment with regret that he was like suffering because his insides were leaking out. My God, you killed it so bad. My goodness. The thing was just trying to deliver a message and you killed it. Never killed the messenger, okay? My God, his insides were leaking out. That's so gory. The more he tried to move his wings, the more he became gutted though. My God, you're so cruel. These insides were like brightly colored psychedelic lights. What am I reading? Very juicy and shiny, mind you. Suddenly, this moth dragged itself to the edge of the bed and flew towards the window to the south, where in the blink of an eye, she became a woman in traditional Indian attire with a headscarf wow, that's really cool. I looked out the window where there are trees, and at the same moment I was standing under one of them, walnut specifically. I don't know how, whether by climbing the trunk or levitating, I reached a height of 2 meters, maybe higher, and at first I didn't notice that thick green snakes were sleeping in this trunk. They weren't aggressive, they didn't want to attack me, they just lounged around looking at me as if slightly sleepy, barely awake. Okay, whatever it is that you're taking for your visions, I want it. Usually I take mugwort tea, and I do have some like similar experiences, but not quite. It's not really like that, not that long, not that intense, but I think that you really have some kind of gift when it comes to clairvoyance, to remembering dreams, to seeing things specifically, and you should really cherish that because this is difficult. Not everybody is able to see so many things and remember in such detail afterwards. So again, I tip my hat to you. Let's find another story, shall we? Like, if in the subject of the email you can write spooky tales exactly, it's going to be so much easier for me to find your stories. I am kind of struggling to find them now. Okay, found another one. My god, this is huge also. Look at this. Also, if you can sum up a little bit, that would be great. Hi, Aster. Hello. I live in Colorado, USA, and I really enjoy your videos. Oh. Thank you so much. I'm happy to hear or to read. I'm happy I found you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share my experience. It's not one event, but a series of events that happened in one of my apartments. It started about 2 months after I moved in until a few months before I moved out. Okay. We're off to a good start here, I feel. Shortly after I moved into this apartment, I had just laid down to go to sleep. I laid down on my left side facing the door. Within a couple of minutes after laying down, I felt a very firm finger trace all the way down my spine. That was pretty unnerving. Oh, tu m'étonnes. The next my god, like if that was with me, I mean, if it was like years ago, I would be scared. But now I would be like, excuse me, I'm trying to sleep here. Could you please go play your tricks on somebody else? Thank you. At a certain point, you kind of get used to those things and they don't really scare you anymore. You're just like, oh, here we go again. Back to the story. The next incident, but like if it was with you, watching right now, feeling a finger going down your spine, what would you do? What would be your reaction? Share it in the comments. I want to know. So back to the story. The next incident happened when I was taking a shower. I had left my bathroom door open a few inches so my cats could go in and out. While I was showering, I suddenly heard a big commotion outside the shower. It sounded like something moving really fast through the bathroom and up onto the counter and quickly out the door. What happened next truly puzzled me. The door slammed shut very hard. I had initially thought it could have been the kitties running around, but changed my mind when I remembered that my door opened inward into the bathroom, and there was no way they could slam the door behind them as they left the room. When I got out of the shower, I noticed one of my heavy sneakers was missing. Again, there was no way my kitties could have taken that with them. I found the sneaker 10 days later down the hall, around the corner and behind a piece of furniture. A trickster. A trickster. My god. Let's continue. After that incident, I started showering with the kitties in the bathroom and with the door closed. Good move. One night, I was leaving the bathroom after my shower and with the kitties when I found 2 clothespins on the ground, parallel to each other, just sitting in front of the door. I have no idea where they came from. Any clothespins I had were inside a closet with the door closed. This is such a trickster. Another incident happened when my daughter came to visit me for a long weekend. She lived far away and we didn't get to see each other very often. We had just walked into the apartment and sat down and started chatting. We kept hearing a clicking noise. We heard it at least 3 times. We could tell it was from the kitchen and we went in there to investigate. Once we got in there, we noticed that a stove burner was on, turned to the heat level 3 out of 9 levels. There is no way I left that burner on, as it had been weeks since I had last used it. Throughout the 7 years I had lived there, I had experienced many more incidents of knockings and tappings, and various things had been moved out of place. At this point, it had become more annoying than scary. You see, it's like I said, at a certain point you get used to it and you're like, oh, seriously, Jezebel, that's the best you can do? Oh, I'm sick of this. You see? That all changed with the last incident I experienced before I moved out. So Jezebel noticed that this person here was getting a little bit bored of the tricks, and Jezebel decided to go up a notch with her trickistry. Pay attention. This time, I was laying down to sleep, debating whether I should sleep on my side or not, because the last time I had done so, it was when I felt the finger trace my spine. Regardless, but like, you spent like 7 years not sleeping on the side? Is that right? That's a long time to not sleep on the side, I have to say. But anyway, regardless of comfort, I always slept on my back. Okay. I decided to sleep on my side and even said in my head that I would probably regret it. Your intuition was like sending signals. Because of all the experiences I had, I now slept with the light on and with an eye mask so that I could sleep well. Wow. The mask was old and the elastic was overstretched and didn't stay in place very well, but served its purpose. Before I had gone to sleep, I had been talking on the phone with my daughter. The next thing I know is that I woke up to myself talking. I thought I was still on the phone with her. What I said out loud as I woke up was, "There's someone here." Ooh, it's Jezebel. I had somehow known there was something there before I even woke up. I immediately was wide awake as I felt and heard the body of someone walk around my bed to my right side, where they moved a stack of books that I had right up next to my bed. They had moved the books out of the way so that they could get closer to me. Stalker. I had heard its feet walking on my carpet and the clothes being rustled as it walked in. The being got close to my head and it was doing something on my bed above my head. I still do not know what they were doing. After what seemed like forever, it finally walked out of my room. Through the gap in my eye mask, I could have seen what it looked like, but I was afraid to see what it was, as I have seen non-human entities before, and I was afraid of what I would see. You can't unsee these things. I lay there wide awake, just waiting for my alarm to go off so I could get ready for work and just leave. About an hour after the being left, I heard it come back. I heard the shuffling on the carpet and the clothes rustling once again. This time it was behind me. I was terrified as to what could happen next. The being then knelt down onto the bed, depressing the mattress as it did so, and it put its knee firmly behind and touching my back. It then grabbed a hold of my comforter and sheets and pulled them up all the way to my neck, as if it was tucking me in. I then heard the familiar shuffle on the carpet and the clothes rustling as it left my room once again. I had about an hour before my alarm went off for work, but got up anyway and got ready for work and left. One of the craziest parts of the story was that both my cats were on the bed with me. One was down by my feet and the other was beside me on my right. Right after this event, both kitties nonchalantly stretched and calmly jumped off the bed, expecting breakfast. It made me wonder if this being came around often and that my cats were used to it and not afraid. A funny thing happened later that day while I was at work. I was expecting a package from Amazon and was notified that the delivery had been made. The notification had said that it had been received directly by the resident. What? When I got back home after work, I half expected the package to be inside the apartment, brought in by that mysterious entity, but I found it laying on the ground right outside the door. Okay, that last part, sometimes Amazon delivery people, they do that. They say it had been delivered directly to you, but it hasn't. They just left it in front of your door. That happens. But the whole story is really interesting. I think that this could be somebody who used to live in the apartment before, and they were not, I don't think they were trying to harm you in any way. They were kind of trying to tuck you in and make sure that you were sleeping good, but they just had a very weird way of demonstrating that they cared. Or it could have been an ancestor. It could have been somebody who used to be in your family, who were just like checking up on you, but they were also kind of a trickster. So maybe you could have been dealing with multiple spirits in that apartment, people who used to live there, or yeah, it could have been something non-human, but we can't really tell. Anyway, I don't think this spirit had any bad intentions. I just think it was weird and misunderstood. Thank you for sharing your story. It was a really good one. Let's see if we can find another one. And how about you watching? What do you think of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Okay, let's see. We have like short and sweet. Great. Let me have a sip of water and we're gonna dive right in. Hello Aster, my name is Christina. I am a tarot reader from Moldova. That is so cool. I have never been to your country, not yet, at least. So, first of all, I wanted to thank you for your content. It's very interesting. You lit it fascinating. Thank you so much. It makes me really happy to receive this kind of feedback. Here's my story. Many years ago, when I was in a deep depression, I had a dream. In the dream, I was enveloped by silhouettes in spacesuits with big black eyes that said to me, "You will see what we'll do to you." That sounds like a threat. Okay. You were like abducted by threatening aliens? At the same moment, I felt that I was rising above my body and I was very frightened and started screaming, "I don't want to, don't!" And I fell quickly back into my body. When I woke up, I had a very sore throat. What do you think it could have been? Okay, I think there could have been some level of astral projection, that kind of experience in which you're getting out of the body. And you know, sometimes spirits, they manifest themselves in forms that we will understand. So maybe in spirituality, there are certain things that we can't really wrap our heads around because they're really not from anywhere around here. They're not from anywhere nearby. There are some entities and creatures and beings from like outer space, that kind of thing. It's not my expertise, but that was an interesting experience, and it makes me think about something a friend of mine told me. That's an interesting story. She knows, this was a friend from university. We are still in touch even though I am in France. She's all the way over in my hometown. No, anyway, she's like in the next city, but anyway, that's not important. The point is, when she had that experience, she came and talked to me about it because she was very puzzled. She had never lived something like that before, and she wanted me to explain to her what that could have been. So one night she was sleeping, and then she woke up in the middle of the night to grab a glass of water. Like, she woke up and she felt like drinking water. She went to the kitchen, drank water, and then when she came back to her bedroom, she realized that there was somebody sleeping in her bed. And she was like, "What? Who's that?" Then she walked up close and she noticed that it was herself. Plot twist. Yeah. So she had an out of the body experience. And then she told me that she stood there looking at herself sleeping, and that it was very scary to her because like she's not spiritual at all. She has no experience and no, like, she's not pursuing spirituality in any way, shape or form. So for her, it was very scary. And I told her, "Girl, you are lucky because so many people try to have that kind of opportunity, not opportunity, but that kind of experience on purpose, and they're not able to, and you just like randomly lived it without even trying. So I don't know, Christina, I don't know what those beings could have been in your dream, but I do believe that you had some kind of out-of-body experience, astral projection, and those like aliens could have been some kind of entity. Yes. Okay, we have, I think I have 2 more stories here. No, there's more stories, so I'm gonna save them for a next episode because this is like, or should I read one more? Okay, I'm gonna read one more story, and please, I cannot stress it enough how important it is for you watching right now to send over your paranormal experiences. And yeah, you are the backbone of this series. Without your participation, Spooky Tales cannot keep on going. So please send your stories to asterperpetua@gmail.com. Okay, let's read one more and call it the day. So, hi Aster. Hello. First off, I found your channel through your collab with Ivy, and I've been following you ever since. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience with the world. Thank you so much for being here. It's really good to know that we are contributing somehow. It really makes me happy. So, my story begins 21 years ago. Boom, when I was 8 years old, and a new girl entered my small town. She was a witch. Just kidding. We became instant friends, and I spent countless days and nights over at her house for the next 10 years. That's such a cool friendship, right? Ever since we were children, we suspected her house was haunted. Her whole family did. No one was particularly spiritual, but it was something they all just accepted. To my knowledge, no one had ever seen or experienced much in that house. It was more just the general vibe and energy of that home. Not to mention that dogs would always stare up at the top of the stairs. They were trained to not go upstairs, by the way, and growl or bark or whine as if they were afraid, but trying to be brave guardians of the family. I was terrified whenever I was left in a room alone in that house, and would always pull my feet up on the couch so they wouldn't dangle. I had taken many showers there over the years because I was always sleeping over, but I always hated it. Being alone in the bathroom, I was always on edge. I'd leave the shower curtain open so I could see the entire bathroom while I showered. I would even pee with the door open a crack whenever I could. My friend's mother was on permanent disability and was home almost all of the time. So between her mom, dad, and 2 sisters, we were never home alone. Until one day. We were around 18 years old. Her younger sister was away at a friend's house, her older sister was at work or basketball, and her dad was working. Her mom had just stepped out to do groceries, so we were home alone for the first time. Let's see where this is going. We were sitting on the bed in one of the bedrooms upstairs in complete silence. No TV, no radio, nothing. We were both just on our phones quietly when we heard someone running up the stairs. It sounded like a large person wearing heavy boots. Keeping in mind, this was an old house and you could hear everything, so it was loud. And it wasn't even 10 minutes after we had just said bye to her mom. We both shot up in terror and looked at each other. After a few seconds I said, "So you heard that too?" We both stood up and began nervously calling out, "Mom? Dad?" Then calling for her sisters. Of course, no one answered. We peeked out the window to see if a car had pulled up and someone was in fact home. But no cars, and we definitely would have heard if somebody came home, as the front door was directly below the room we were in, and again, we would have heard it. We anxiously checked all 3 bedrooms upstairs, and when we found nothing, I stood at the top of the stairs waiting for my friend to follow me down to the main floor. There was no way I was going down there by myself. I was so afraid. I hated that staircase. I called for my friend and she told me to go and that she would be right behind me. I reluctantly said okay, because I'm not going by myself. I turned back towards the stairs and started running down. That's when I saw them. Them, plural. That's when I saw them. A large figure in front of me. I know it was just one person, it's just like non-gender kind of speaking. Okay, I get it. So she ran down the stairs and she saw a large figure in front of me, about 10 or so steps below me, walking down the last few steps and turning right into the kitchen. I was running so fast, it all happened so quickly. By the time I reached the bottom, I said, "Oh, it's just your mom?" My eyes darted back and forth, scanning the kitchen as fast as possible. My friend ran down after me and shouted, "What?" I said, "I just saw someone on the stairs, but now they're not here." She thought I was messing with her and told me to cut it out, but I just said, "I swear I'm not playing, but I don't even care. I'm not staying here." And I started putting on my shoes. My friend followed me and we left her house immediately, refusing to go back inside until her mom came back home. Thankfully, this is my whole story. No one was hurt and nothing really happened. But what freaks me out to this day is that this thing had 10 years to scare us. 10 years to make itself known. Why did it choose the one time we were alone to show itself? Thank you for listening, or reading more like it. Much love and support, Brianna from Canada. Thank you for your story, Brianna. Yeah, definitely there was a reason for that entity to, I mean, maybe they only wanted to be seen by you specifically, or maybe you and your friend, but you were the only person who saw it, right? So I would guess, I mean, in the spiritual world, time passes differently. So what 10 years are to us, it's not the same feel, it's not the same passage of time that they have on the other side. So for them, 10 years is not such a long time for like to wait for them to do something they want, or in the manner that they want to do it. I think that this spirit, they only wanted you to see them and not the rest of the family. So they waited for the perfect opportunity to do that. And I think if you're not doing that already, I think that you should really take a look into spirit work, spirit communication, because you could have a gift for it. I know that at first it is scary, it is weird, and we're like, I'm not doing that. But as you get familiar with the whole thing, it's actually very fascinating, and you get to have many very interesting experiences. So I would advise that to you. You could have a gift that you're not really aware of, and maybe that entity was kind of trying to signal it to you in a way. I don't think that they felt comfortable with the rest of the family. I don't think so. And again, it could have been somebody who used to live there, some previous owner, somebody who used to inhabit that house. Thank you so much for sending your story, Brianna. You have a beautiful name, by the way. And yeah, I'm gonna stop here because it's like 45 minutes of footage. Thank you so much to everybody who sent a story, and I will be waiting for yours, okay? Your supernatural experience. Don't forget to send it over on my email address. And remember, practice makes perfect. So let's get witching. Bye-bye.